This is my third garden tour. The garden is currently in transition into fall-winter, so I don't really have too much going on, but I can highlight a few things. The first thing to highlight is this stuff right here. This is my amaranth. I was actually pretty surprised how quickly it sprouted. It only sprouted in a couple of days. This is the red amaranth and the green, I think it's called green emerald amaranth. In contrast, this is finally sprouted. These are star apples. They're apparently some kind of tropical fruit tree. I haven't really tried them before, so I don't know what to expect from them. But I planted these in late March, and they finally sprouted just a few weeks ago. I've got a lot of cuttings going on. These are my orange and sweet potatoes, and these are my purple sweet potatoes. Some Everglade tomatoes, CISO spinach from the video. I think this one's the Ildy tomato, and another Everglade. I've been working on training up the cucumber melons to grow where I want them to, instead of onto each other's trellises. That's been a bit of a challenge, but it's going well. Here's that Moringa branch that I cut it down and stuck in a pot. Interestingly enough, it's actually sprouting. So apparently there is some truth to how to propagate these things from cuttings. My dwarf moringa, which isn't growing like a dwarf moringa, could use some cutting back, so I may be getting a few more moringa plants from the cuttings. My Seminole pumpkins are doing well. As you can see, they're growing out from their enclosure, and they've almost completely taken over the enclosure here. If you notice the pattern on the leaf here, that's normal. A lot of people tend to think there's something wrong with their squash when they see this. But don't worry about that, that's perfectly normal. My Katuk here seemed to be dealing with the nitrogen deficiency, so I gave it some fertilizer. And I noticed it started developing fruit. This is actually the first time I've seen this fruit since I've gotten it. There's another one right there. I'm sure if I look around I'll probably find more. I might be able to grow this from seed instead of cuttings, which will be interesting since I've only been able to find cutting things to buy. This bed kind of suffered a little bit. My bush beans didn't make it, unfortunately. I'm trying to suffocate some weeds right there. The Umberto tomato, I wasn't really impressed with the flavor, unfortunately. This bed's doing pretty nice. This is an actual edible weed. I just let it grow because it's attractive to pollinators. I'm actually surrounded by little bees flying around right now. My Everglade tomatoes are still doing pretty good. A little bit of mildew right there, that's easy to get rid of. Sorghum's pretty much ready to harvest, with the exception of a couple in the back. I noticed it started developing another head on this one. I didn't know the sorghum would do that. Just noticed this little opening in the pod. This is actually a wild variety of bitter melon. It grows as a weed in my yard. That's what bitter melon looks like in the wild variety. Much smaller than the cultivated varieties we have for eating. I am told these can be eaten, though when they're fully ripe, I've heard they're poisonous. I don't know if that's true or not, and I'm not willing to test it out. Wasps make good pollinators too. Something to keep in mind. Yeah, I just found my Brazilian star peppers. It's produced a few. This one here looks like it's a little bit overly ripe, but that's okay. It had an interesting flavor. Half of the pepper was sweet, and the other half was spicy. I took another cutting of my Katuk. It's pretty stressed right now, but as long as I keep the soil damp, it should start rooting itself and bounce back. That's all I have for right now. Not a very long garden tour, but like I said, things are in transition into the fall-winter garden. You can look forward to that.